We all know that most games based on movies are usually about as enjoyable as having dental surgery while having a cactus shoved up your bum. So do titles based on the big screen's little brother fare any better?
Unfortunately not. If anything, they're even worse.
So while you're sitting gawping at us on the goggle box for the next 30 minutes, just think that something you're watching right now could become a bad video game in itself.
Hi, I'm Wes.
And I'm Larry. And we welcome you to the top 10 worst TV licenses. Not to be confused with the government's mandatory televisual licensing tax, but as in rubbishy games based on TV shows. I'll shut up now.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's now time for Wes and Larry's Top 10!
I know that Eidos have just released a new Doctor Who game, but do they finally make it into the long-awaited third-person action adventure that fans scream for?
No, they made a freaking Top Chomps game out of it. Why Doctor Who has never been used so much as a video game's license, or even more so when it is actually used, why it's made a complete pig's ear out of, we'll never know. But the Time Lord travels in at number 10.
Doctor Who Dalek Attack takes us all the way back to the 7th Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, which kind of makes sense since this game was made in 1992. But the game also lets you play as Patrick Troughton and Tom Baker, which really doesn't make sense.
Now you'd think that Doctor Who would be an awesome licence for a video game, travelling through time and space and battling a huge plethora of the greatest villains in sci-fi history. But no.
Admiral Software, no, we've never heard of them either, decided to wrap it around a story where Stephen Hawking, fearful...
That's Davros.
I don't know, I don't even watch the show.
I'm telling you, it's Davros.
Davros, then, fearful of humanity's technological progress, decides to invade Earth and turn it into a Dalek-making factory. As you do.
And as all the hardcore Doctor Who fans will remember, it's based on that classic episode where the Doctor flew through the sewers in a flying shopping trolley, shooting bogies, and then travels to London to climb on roofs and collect copyrighted logos. Truly an all-time great.
Look, he's even fighting Klingons in it.
No, they're from Star Trek, not Doctor Who.
I told you, I don't watch it!
Look, but everyone knows they're from... Oh, hang on, you're right. Now, not only did Admiral surprise us with the fact that the Doctor now has the ability to travel into other sci-fi shows, we even learn in this game that Time Lords are also allergic to water. I bet even Russell T Davies didn't know that one. No wonder why he quit.
What a complete bunch of retardis.
I thought you said you didn't know anything about the show.
Well, I know that Eidos have just released a new Doctor Who game, but do they finally make it into the long-awaited third-person action adventure that fans scream for?
No, they made a freaking Top Chomps game out of it. Why Doctor Who has never been used so much as a video game's licence, or even more so when it is actually used, why it's made a complete pig's ear out of, we'll never know. But the Time Lord travels in at number 10. Next up is a game based on the iconic TV series Lost, a series which has caused every show to come out in the US since to be declared as a new Lost.
Now, if like Larry, you hardly know anything about the Lost universe, it essentially focuses on a bunch of survivors of a plane crash who are stranded on a mysterious island where loads of weird things happen. And they happen slowly. Oh, so very slowly throughout each series. Slowly.
The problem with the game is, if you've never watched the show, you've no freaking idea what's going on.
That's not saying much, Larry. Even if you watch the show, you'll have no idea what's going on either. One of the first things any Lost fan will notice is the fact that all the decent members of the Lost cast didn't supply their voice in the game. So you have to put up with some truly annoying voice acting, which really takes you away from the island.
It's not just the voice acting though, it's the fact the actual game mechanics suck, as well as having some of the most boring and tedious gameplay we've had to endure for ages.
The puzzles are not fun, and you often find yourself dying because you've gone down the wrong path.
There's that annoying fetch-style stuff that was offered in games 10 years ago but everybody hates, and mini-games that rips off pipe dream.
And just like the show, you'll also endure flashbacks, where basically you see something that happened in the past, and you couldn't care less what happened to this guy because he's not really part of Lost.
Who is he then? He's not from the show?
No, he's just some cruddy random character they created so it didn't interfere with their precious universe, but could still make them money from die-hard fans who want to experience everything.
Even dire games based on TV licenses?
It appears so, yeah.
The thing is, people are always saying how great the show is, but this game didn't do anything but put me off.
And that's probably the biggest problem with the game. It's nothing but something for die-hard fans. It completely bypasses so many important aspects of the show. gets to the hatch in the game, and those who don't watch it will think, so what?
So add to the fact that die-hard fans of Lost don't like it, the poo puzzles, the annoying game mechanics like getting stuck into invisible objects, and the worst monster in history.
Don't talk about the monster. Do you know what that thing can do?
What, some black smoke? What's it gonna do? Give me lung cancer?
Now you've done it. It's going to come after us. Lost comes in at number 9. Now run!
When it comes to games blankly only created to cash in on a flavour of the month craze, you don't need to look much further than Home Improvement.
Based on that hit US series, hit spelt with an S that is, Home Improvement was a desperate attempt from Absolute Entertainment. Yes, the guys who also made the crudfest that was Toys, which doesn't bode well, does it?
Remember that classic episode of Home Improvement where Tim the Toolman Taylor lost his new Lima power tools and had to go looking for him in other cliched theme movie sets?
No, not really. But then again, no one bothered watching Home Improvement over here.
I can't think why. What with the hilarious antics that often happen in the game, like Tim battling through hordes of prehistoric beasts and mummies and... You know what? This game isn't really like the show at all.
Yeah, it usually revolves around some thin pot based on a family issue you can see coming a mile off, but all miraculously works out in the end, leaving the obligatory patronising moral.
So what's the moral of this then? Your tools you're supposed to plug on the show are stolen, putting your job on the line, where you have to go looking for them, risking your life against numerous nasties, only to find out it's your kids who stole them to prove that they loved you and wanted to be like you, who are the exact same ones constantly spraying you in the face when you die to revive you to endure more pain.
So I guess the moral is then, don't trust your kids. They're only going to try and murder you to gain your affection. Home Improvement goes to prove that you can't make a decent video game based on a sitcom. Its repetitive platforming, overly difficult controls and stupid plot just goes to show that not everything can be fixed with a little home improvement.
The fact they couldn't even be bothered to print the instruction manual proves that.
Apparently, real men don't need instruction manuals, despite the fact it would be kids who would have to put up with this poop.
And thus Home Improvement hammers its way in at number 8. So DIY, don't you give this a miss. Struth, Charlie, those pommies have made a game of our antics.
I've told you already, Larry. I'm not doing my Kylie Minogue impression.
Oh, go on.
No!
Go on!
No!
Go on!
Alright! Struth, Scott, they've only got to turn it into a pile of didgeridoo.
Well, that wasn't really worth waiting for, was it? That was more Brookside than Neighbours.
I told you I didn't want to do it.
Fair enough. Do you remember that classic episode of Neighbours where they all got together and raced around Ramsey Street on go-karts, skateboards and buggies?
Anyone on a surfboard, perchance?
No, Wes. Seemingly enough, a surfboard cannot traverse road all too easily. And in any case, you're far too busy avoiding stereotypical Australian obstacles like kangaroos, ostriches...
Isn't that an emo?
Don't you mean an emu?
Yeah, that's the one.
No, that's definitely an ostrich. Emus are usually blue and often have 80 celebrities' hands shoved up their bum.
But it is wearing black like an emo, or at least darkish grey.
Will you let me finish? Avoiding kangaroos, ostriches and other cliched things like open manholes, morons carrying valuable objects in the middle of the street, and this guy in the car who insists on backing out and driving back in again constantly.
Don't forget great cameos from Mrs. Mangle, quite possibly the greatest female actress of her generation. Oh, and Bounce the lovable Labrador. For a title that's based on the stupid idea of crossing a racing game with Paperboy, let alone based on a concept that everybody obviously knows wouldn't make a good game in the first place, Neighbours makes its way in at number 7 Ramsey Street.
Closer each day, home and away.
Wrong show, Larry.